The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, and thank you to everyone for joining us for our very first and very exciting Priority Access Industry Experts webinar. My name is Mackenzie Board, and I'll be your host for today's session. Before we get started, I'd please take a moment to check out the handout section on your webinar control panel for helpful documents you can access and download. Today, you should be able to see 3 documents. Attendee notes, which can help you navigate the webinar control panel and manage audio. The other 2 handouts have relevant information about accessing PT Community. Please note all attendees will be in listen-only mode for the duration of our presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to ask them by using the questions pane. After the presentation, we will have a brief Q&A session, and Amy will answer as many questions as possible in the time we have remaining. Please also note that we are recording today's webinar session, and all attendees will receive an email within 1 week with a link to our webinar recording, along with a link to PT Community, your customer resource portal. Now, for those that have yet to register and access, our PT Community Resource Center provides our AMP members with access to our technical support teams, access to our Answer Center or knowledge base, and user helpful how-to articles, and our on-demand and instructor-led training offerings via PT University. PT Community also has a video library, which includes previous webinar recordings for our active AMP members to access anytime. So now that I know many of you are already members of our Priority Access program, but we have also recently extended one-time access or a sneak peek for some of our clients. So I would first like to remind everyone that joined today what Priority Access offers and the value it brings straight to your firm's front door. Our Priority Access service is only available to current Time Matters or PC Law firms with over 25 user licenses and include a dedicated client success manager to work with you to maintain the reliability of your system. Our client success managers focus on increasing your firm's efficiency and improving your firm's overall profitability. While the fundamentals of marketing post-COVID have remained the same, the importance of digital marketing with a law firm's overall marketing strategy is now more important than ever. More specifically, increasing your law firm's visibility on Google has become essential to the successful online marketing campaign. Learn how to increase your law firm's visibility in Google search results with Google local search ads, Google reviews, and long-form website content. Now, Amy Catley, the Director of Digital Marketing at JurisPage, for the past decade, Amy has worked with hundreds of law firms to design website and development comprehensive and effective SEO campaigns. Today, Amy will help us build our marketing plan in this post-COVID economy. Amy, I will now turn the webinar on over to you.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for the introduction. I am very happy to be here today. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Today, I will be talking to you about how to market your firm in a post-COVID economy. I hope you all learn a few things today and take with you some actionable items you can use to help grow your law firm. First, I'd like to start by introducing myself. Mackenzie already did that for me. Like she said, my name is Amy Catley. I am the Director of Digital Marketing at JurisPage. So what am I going to be talking to you about today? I'm going to talk a little bit about how COVID changed the economy and what this means for digital marketing. And then I'm going to get into the meat of the presentation, 3 strategies to market your firm post-COVID. I'm going to go into detail about these 3 strategies that we have found to be very effective to market your law firm post-COVID. And then after that, as Mackenzie said, we will have a short Q&A session. So before we talk about how to market your firm post-COVID, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the economy changed with COVID. I promise I only have one slide about COVID. I know we're all sick of hearing about it, but I think this is important to understand. When the pandemic hit, businesses across all industries were forced to quickly find ways to go digital. For example, many law firms needed to find ways to take virtual consultations and client meetings and take all paperwork and the signing of documents completely online. And as a result, customers are engaging with businesses online at a higher rate than ever before. This is also resulting in customers more frequently turning to the internet, to Google, to find and research law firms to hire. So what is becoming more and more normal is potential clients looking online for things like reviews. They're doing research online before they contact a firm. They're turning to Google to find a local firm to hire. They're looking at your website and evaluating if you're trustworthy or not. They're engaging online, even in the process of finding a firm to hire. So while the fundamentals of digital marketing have not changed with COVID, COVID didn't change anything drastically about digital marketing itself. It is arguable that digital marketing is now more important than ever to meet your customers where they are, which is online. So what is one of the best ways to do this? And what I will be talking to you all about today is increasing your firm's visibility in Google's search results. So if you look at the orange box there, an increase in visibility on Google equals an increase in traffic to your Google Ads, your Google Maps listings, to your website. An increase in traffic equals an increase in leads and an increase in clients, which is ultimately the objective of any digital marketing campaign. So how do we do this? How do we increase visibility in Google search results? While there are many components that make up a complete digital marketing campaign, I only have a relatively small amount of time to speak to you today, so I'm going to talk about 3 specific strategies to increase your firm's visibility in Google search results. And here are those 3 strategies and a brief overview of what I'll be discussing about each. So we're going to start with local service ads, Google local service ads, also known as LSAs. You'll hear me call them for short. We're going to talk about what they are, how to use them to market to local clients, and how they help increase visibility in Google search results to local customers. Next, we're going to talk about reviews. We're going to talk about why reviews are important, how to get more of them, and also how they help increase visibility in Google's local search results. And last, we're going to talk about website content. We're going to talk about how website content helps increase visibility in Google's organic search results, how to structure pages on your website, what you should write about, and how long should it be. So before I get into the 3 strategies I mentioned, I wanted to talk about Google's search results and what aspects of the search results these strategies impact. In other words, exactly where are you increasing your law firm's visibility? So here is a search result on Google that you would see if you typed in the term criminal defense lawyer San Antonio. I know it's small, but I'll zoom into each area in a second so you can see. There are 3 sections that I wanted to highlight on this page. Number 1, you'll notice at the very top of the page, you'll see these 3 lovely lawyers' faces right here. And these are what's called Google's local service ads. and I will explain what these are in detail in a minute. Next, a bit farther down the page, you'll find what's known as the local maps listings. And I'll explain how to increase your visibility in these listings later in the presentation. And finally, down at the bottom, you'll notice the organic search results begin. And we're going to talk about how to increase visibility in these results as well. So let's start by talking about Google local service ads and how they can help increase your visibility in Google search results for local customers. So Google local service ads, LSAs, are those 3 listings or ads at the very top of Google's search results. The first thing that you see, remember the search result page that I just showed you. These are Google's newest ad format. They were introduced slowly in 2019 and now have rolled out for most cities and practice areas across the United States. I don't believe they are available in Canada yet, but they are available in most practice areas in the US. So there are a few things that I would like you to notice about these ads. Number 1 being the trust indicators on each listing. These trust indicators are likely why they work so well, especially in the legal industry. As you all know very well, your potential clients need to trust you before they hire you. There are multiple very important trust indicators used on this ad format. So the first one there is that little green check mark that says Google screened. We'll talk about what this means in the next slide. And reviews, so users can read about how you've helped others and what others have experienced when dealing with your firm. Very important trust indicator. And headshot, so we know you're a real person, a real live attorney. And last, years in business, which is a good indicator of your level of experience. So what is the difference between LSAs and regular Google ads? You can see pictured on the right there, LSA ads and Google ads, and what they look like next to each other. So what is the big deal about LSA ads and why can they be more effective than regular ads? One of the biggest differences is that little green check mark you saw on the previous slide that says Google screened. Google runs a background check and checks the licenses of all attorneys featured on LSA ads, and you must pass these checks in order to be successfully Google screened and show in the LSA ads. So Google's essentially checking to ensure you are who you claim to be and practice in the area of law and in the location that you say that you do. And this process typically takes around 2 to 4 weeks to complete. So it's a process. The second important difference is that you pay per lead, not per click. So what does this really mean? You actually have to get a qualified lead to pay Google for that lead. That means an actual phone call, an actual form submission. And another interesting thing about them is that you can dispute leads. So if you get a spam lead and Google charges you for it, you can actually dispute that lead. The next difference is the emphasis on marketing to local users. So you will attract local clients with these ads. People that are searching for your services in your areas that you're targeting. The closer the user is to your physical office address, the more likely they are to appear in the top 3 LSA ads. So you'll appear for keywords such as employment lawyer near me or personal injury attorney in Houston, Texas, and those location-driven keywords. And rankings, the more 5-star reviews that you have and the closer your office is to the user, the higher you will rank. So that's an important distinction between how Google ranks LSA ads versus how Google ranks Google ads. There are 3 important ranking factors. 5-star, the more 5-star reviews that you have, so reviews, and the proximity to the user, as well as your weekly budget. So the budget that you set in the LSA ad platform is also a ranking factor. And last, they're actually not managed through Google Ads. It's a different platform altogether. It's a very simple platform. Some of the only settings that you can choose in the LSA ad platform are the practice areas that you want to target, the locations you want to target, and your weekly budget. That's it. Google does the rest. So here are some key takeaways to summarize LSAs. Number 1, LSA ads are an effective way to increase your firm's visibility in Google search results for local users. So the visibility that you're increasing is for customers in close proximity to your office. Next, you pay per lead, not per click. So you don't pay Google anything to run these ads unless you get a qualified lead as a result. It's a very important distinction. And last, remember that the more reviews and the closer you are to the user, the higher you will rank in these results. And the weekly budget is also a factor that Google uses. We found these ads to be very effective and would recommend setting them up if you haven't already. And you pay per lead, right? So you don't stand the chance of spending a bunch of money on something that doesn't work. And, you know, these are the very first thing that you see on the search results. So Google is putting a lot of emphasis on them. So they are very effective if you can get your listing in those top 3 results that you saw on that previous page. All right, moving on to the next strategy that I wanted to talk to you about today, reviews. We're going to talk about why they're so important, how to get more of them, and how you can help use them, or how you can use them to help increase your visibility on Google. So why am I talking about reviews? Why are they so important? Earlier, I talked about how COVID accelerated the digital transformation of the economy and how customers are engaging online and they're turning to the internet, they're turning to Google when researching a firm and searching for a firm to hire. So it is important that you provide them online with a reason to trust you and your firm. And reviews play a big role in garnering trust. Reviews can impact your entire online presence, so your reputation and trustworthiness overall. I just talked about how they can impact your LSA ad rankings. They can also affect your Google Maps rankings, which I will talk about in the next slide in more detail. They can also impact your overall conversion rates on your website. And to the right, I've included examples of all the places reviews can be highlighted in your online presence, specifically your presence on Google. So they are featured on your Google Maps listing. You can see the aggregated star ranking there. They're featured on your LSA ads, like we just talked about. And this is an example of one of our clients, how he features reviews on his website. And of course, Google My Business. Your Google My Business listing is where your reviews, your Google reviews are all found and can be read. So how do reviews help increase your visibility on Google? You'll notice to the right the original search result page that I showed you near the beginning with the local maps listings highlighted. The number of 5-star reviews that your business has on Google impacts your rankings in the Google local listings. So the more 5-star reviews you have supports higher local visibility. The listings that you see to the right there. So this isn't the only ranking factor for maps listings, but it certainly is an important one. And not only will it help you with your rankings, but it also helps with your click-through rate as well on these local maps listings. I mean, look at those listings that you see right there. I'm not sure if it is too small to see, but who would you want to click on? The firm that has 104 reviews with a 4.9 rating, or the firm that has 23 reviews with a 4.5 rating? It definitely makes your listing look more enticing. So how do you get reviews? Having a solid review strategy in place is crucial to generating online reviews and building online reputation and trust. You need to put into place a review solicitation strategy. Typically, these strategies are quite simple. It's the execution of the strategy that is typically a hurdle for many firms, and just simply putting it into practice. But once you get into the habit, it certainly pays off, as reviews are very important. They are worth their weight in gold. So what does a typical review strategy look like? Usually it's made up of 2 parts. First part, contact past clients with successful case outcomes to ask for a review. You can do this through email, or we recommend picking up the phone and actually calling them. And do this immediately. Do this right after a case is closed, so within a few weeks while things are still fresh. And number 2, make it as easy as humanly possible to leave a review. So if you're sending an email, provide links directly to the review platforms. For law firms, these 3 I have listed here are the top most impactful review platforms to use. And you'll see I have Google listed first. Google is the most important review platform that you can capture reviews on. Because if you remember a few slides ago, Google reviews impact in many ways your visibility in Google search results. And just a sidebar, in order to get Google reviews, you do need a Google My Business listing. And if you're calling your client to ask for a review, we recommend walking through how to leave that review with them while they're on the phone. So stay on the phone with them, make it as easy as possible, help them navigate to Google, and help them leave that review. And that we found that to be the most effective method, is actually just giving them a call. So you've put into place a review solicitation strategy. You're starting to get reviews rolling in on Google and other websites. Now what? How do you leverage them? Is there anything more you can do? What are the next steps? So once you have some great reviews you'd like to showcase, you can leverage them to help increase trust and conversion rates on your website. A quick and easy way that we found to do this is use a plugin to pull your Google reviews directly from Google onto your site. And we found that using this particular WordPress plugin to be very effective. Now, your website must be built on WordPress, obviously, for that to work, but there are many different ways to do this on other platforms as well. to the right is what that specific Google Reviews widget by Elf site, that plugin, what it looks like when it's installed on your website, what the reviews look like. And above and beyond your website, there are other areas of your digital marketing that you can leverage your reviews as well, such as on landing pages or in your email marketing and anywhere else in your digital marketing campaign. Use those reviews to your benefit. Leverage them as much as you can because they will help your overall performance of your digital marketing efforts. So here are some of the key takeaways I'd like you to remember about reviews and how you can utilize them in your online marketing. More 5-star reviews on Google helps increase your firm's visibility in Google's local search results. So the Google Maps listings right below the LSA ads. And in order to increase your chances of getting a review, ask for a review right after a successful case is closed and make it as simple as possible for your clients to leave a review. And then leverage them on your website, leverage them in other places in your digital marketing efforts to increase conversion rates and overall performance. All right, the third and final strategy that I'm going to talk to you about today to increase your firm's visibility in Google's organic search results is website content. If you recall the original search result page that I showed you earlier in the presentation for Criminal Defense Lawyer San Antonio, now we're talking about the results near the bottom of the page where the organic search results start. So just real quickly, a refresher on organic search results and what those are. They are the website listings below the paid ads and local ads that are calculated strictly algorithmically. So they aren't paid for. They are not affected in any way by advertiser payments. So how does content play a part in this? Content is one of the top ranking factors in Google's organic search results. And Google favors high quality, long format content. Content is an important fundamental component of any digital marketing campaign. There are a lot of different aspects of website content that relates to digital marketing that I could talk to you about today. I could honestly probably do a whole webinar on just website content itself, but today we're going to talk about a few specific strategies we use here at JurisPage, particularly how we use high quality, long format content. So to reiterate, high quality, long format content equals more visibility in Google's organic search results. So what do I mean when I say website content? Website content is the stuff found on your website. I'm going to talk particularly about the text, the body text found on any page of your website. So common types of website content are practice area pages, blog posts, and frequently asked questions. So practice area pages, these are the pages on your website that talk about one specific practice area, such as medical malpractice, for instance. It is a full page on your website dedicated to that one practice area. Blog posts are like articles. They can be on any topic, and they're usually found in a dedicated blog section on your website. And frequently asked questions, FAQs. They are just exactly what they sound like, pages on your website that are dedicated to answering frequently asked questions. These are very similar to blog posts. They're in the same realm. A question that we often get asked here at JurisPage is, how long should the content be? How long should my practice area page be? How long should my blog post be? Generally speaking, we recommend any piece of content should be at least 850 to 1500 words. So a substantial amount of content. It's not just a couple of paragraphs. Google is looking for more than that. Google's looking for content that really has some meat to it. And long format content typically outranks shorter content. And when I say shorter content, I mean pages that have body content of 500 words or less. So I wanted to talk to you about how to structure your practice area pages, one of the forms of content commonly found on law firm websites. This is one of the top major mistakes that we see being made when we first take on firms here at JurisPage, and that is incorrectly structured practice area pages, or practice area pages that are simply not fleshed out. In order for Google to understand what services your firm provides, it looks at the pages on your website for clues on what keywords to rank your website for. If you only have one page about, let's say, family law in general, you're going to be missing out on ranking for keywords such as child custody lawyer, grandparents' rights lawyer, and all the sub-practice areas under family law that you may also practice in, but Google will not know about it unless you build out those pages. So we always recommend building out a practice area page for all of the sub-practice areas that your firm services. Generally, the more specific you can get, the higher your visibility on Google. So here you can see a diagram of a sample practice area page structure on a website. You'll notice each sub-practice area is built out individually. So we're breaking out divorce into two smaller sub-practice area pages: divorce mediation, uncontested divorce. We're breaking out family law agreements into sub-practice areas: prenuptial agreements, separation agreements, and so on. Implementing this structure is going to help increase the amount of keywords that your firm ranks for, and therefore help increase your visibility on Google's organic search results. Next, I wanted to discuss a little bit about blog posts and FAQ pages, the other two common forms of content published on a law firm's website. More specifically, blog and FAQ content ideation, or what should you write about? So we found producing content around informational queries for blog posts and FAQ pages to be very effective at increasing visibility in Google search results. So what is an informational query? When someone enters an informational query search into Google, they're looking for information, hence the name. Their intent is to find information, not necessarily hire a law firm yet. You're probably wondering, why would I want to bring traffic to my site that are people that don't necessarily want to hire an attorney? Because they may not want to yet, but if they are searching for informational queries related to your practice area, chances are they are in the research phase or will need a lawyer soon. And showing in the search results for informational queries also puts you in a position of authority in your industry. So basically it shows that user that you know your stuff, you know what you're talking about. Typically, informational queries or keywords answer common questions in your area of law. So for example, the questions I have on the screen there: how much will I get paid for my injury claim? What is the law in Texas about open containers? What is an expungement? How do I get it? Think about the questions that your clients often ask you for ideas on how to target these informational queries, and then use them in your blogs and FAQ pages. And on these pages, think about answering multiple questions centering around the same topic in one article, because remember that the ideal length for one piece of content is around 850 to 1,500 words. Now, they don't always have to be in the form of a question, but it tends to work really well if they are. So the structure that we typically use that we've seen prove to be very effective is you pose a question on your blog in a heading, and then you answer that question directly below that heading. You pose a question, answer it below. You pose a question, answer it below, and so on. We found this structure to be very, very effective at increasing visibility in Google's organic search results. So how can you use website content to increase visibility in Google search results? Here are the key takeaways. High quality, long format content. So 850 to 1500 words or more will help increase visibility in Google's organic search results. So the results that are below the LSA ads, below the Google Maps listings. And how do you use this high quality long format content? Well, consider building out practice area pages for each sub-practice area that your firm practices in. So think pages for niche areas like prenuptial agreements for a family lawyer, for instance. And consider producing and publishing blog and/or FAQ content focusing on informational queries. So think common questions that your clients ask. All right, so to summarize my presentation, I've talked about 3 specific strategies to help increase your firm's visibility in Google search results to successfully market your firm in a post-COVID economy where your customers are, which is online more than ever, and therefore more important than ever, or making digital marketing, therefore more important than ever. And these 3 strategies are, to summarize, utilize Google's LSA ads to help increase your visibility in Google's search results to attract more local customers. So you pay per lead, not per click, and the more reviews you have and the closer you are to the customer, the higher you will show in those results. And then we talked about reviews, how critical they are to your overall marketing strategy, and how capturing more reviews, namely on Google, can help you increase your visibility on Google in multiple areas. And last, we talked about website content. It is very, very important. It is a very important component of digital marketing, and producing high quality, long format content will help to increase your visibility in Google's organic search results. So build out those practice area pages, build out that content around the common questions that your clients are asking you. And that is all for me. Thank you so much for listening and for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone learned something today that you can take away and successfully implement into your own marketing campaigns and help grow your firm in this post-COVID economy. And Mackenzie, I believe I will hand it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that great presentation, Amy. I absolutely do have a few questions from the audience, so I'd like to ask those. The first one here says, can I run LSA ads in other cities than the one my office is located in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, you can. However, remember in my presentation when I said that the closer you are to the user, the higher you will rank. So if your office isn't in the same city, it is unlikely that you will rank very highly, but you can target other cities with LSA ads.
Okay, ready for the next question?
Yes.
All right. What would you suggest to do if someone wants to leave a review on Google but remain anonymous?
Yes, good question. So when someone leaves a review on Google, that review is associated with the Google user's name. So whatever name you choose when you create your Google account. But what you can do is help your client to create a brand new Google account under a pseudonym. we found that to be really effective, and they can leave a review while they're signed into that fake account. Google doesn't necessarily recommend this, but I can tell you from experience that it does work. So that would be how you would help someone leave an anonymous review on Google.
All right, thanks for that. So this next one I can completely appreciate. What do I do if I get a bad review?
Yeah, so everyone's going to get a bad review. I mean, it just happens. It's a fact of life. So when you do, it's important to remember that the objective is to get the person to change or remove the review. That doesn't always happen, but that's our objective. So look back and remember what happened. See if there's anything that you can do to make it right. And most importantly, respond to that review publicly on the platform that it was left on. So this way, others who see that review in the future, if they don't change it or they don't remove it, at least they can see that you attempted to make things right at the very least.
Perfect. This next question, I like this one. Let's see here. It says, you talked about how it's important to get reviews on Google. What are your thoughts about other platforms like BBB or Yelp?
Yeah, so like I said in my presentation, Google is the most important and impactful platform to capture reviews on because, like I said, it affects your visibility on Google in multiple areas. But that's not to say that reviews on other platforms aren't valuable. Really, any review that you can get is going to be valuable. And remember, you can pull reviews not just from Google, but you can pull them from other platforms to use elsewhere on your marketing. So you can pull those reviews from BBB or Yelp and manually put them on your website and leverage them there as well. So they're still valuable for sure.
All right. Next question here says, how often do you recommend publishing content to your website?
As often as you can. I know it's hard. I know attorneys are all very busy people. So I always say as often as you can. But ideally, you would produce and publish about 1 to 2 articles a month to your website. But like I said, I know that's hard. So it's just as often as you can.
Perfect. I've got another one about publishing, but let me read this for you. What are your thoughts about publishing other forms of content, such as videos and podcasts?
Yeah, good question. So when we're talking strictly about increasing visibility on Google, publishing text, so like articles and practice area pages and the things that I was talking about in my presentation to your website are going to be the most impactful. However, having other forms of content on your website is always good. So especially videos, which can increase engagement on your website and improve overall performance. So content is really the foundation. That's the most important. But having other forms of media and other forms of content on your website is definitely helpful.
All right, perfect. Got one more here. How do I know if these strategies are working? How can I track increased visibility on Google?
Yeah, good question. So the best way to track your visibility on Google, there's 2 of Google's own tracking tools that you can use for that. One is Google Search Console, and the other is Google My Business using the dashboard that you can view in Google My Business. So on Search Console, the metric that you're looking for would be impressions. So your website impressions, which are the number of times that you appear in those organic search results that I was talking about at any position. So not necessarily clicked on, but how often you are viewed or how often your search result appears in the search results. And this metric will tell you if your visibility is improving. So if you're getting more impressions, you're getting higher visibility. And then on Google My Business, there is a metric, a similar metric on their dashboard where you can see impressions. So that tells you if your visibility is increasing in the local search results. And then obviously, if you're getting more leads and more calls, that will tell you as well if your visibility is increasing in the search results.
Okay, excellent. Well, those are the questions that I have and have been able to ask you. So I appreciate you answering those for us today. And
Thank you.
thank
Yeah.
you so much, Amy, for presenting such valuable information. We appreciate you taking the time out to share your expert knowledge with us. I would also like to thank, I'm sorry, go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure. I would also like to thank all of you in the audience for taking your time out of your busy day to join us today as well. As a reminder, a recording of today's webinar will be sent in a follow-up email that you will receive within a week. If you would like to access our library of past webinars, please visit the Video Resource Center at PT Community. That's visit community.pclawtimematters.com. Thank you all for your time today. And again, thank you so much, Amy. And I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Bye for now.